is it to be king? To be an example of greatness, it takes a leader to be king. To be a representation of his independent state, which he inherited as a successor, it takes humbleness to be a king. Throughout all the trials and burdens of life, leading his people through conflicts, providing service for his people, and protecting the land he swore to, it takes bravery to be a king. My kings were born, had strength, and prevailed through the thickest mud of tribulations for me to be where I am today. And you ask me, what is it to be king? Martin Luther King Jr. led 25,000 people on a 50-mile march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, while battling against police, tear gas, cattle, just for our right to vote. Fred Hampton provided for his people, starting the first free breakfast program for children, assuring his people wouldn't starve. John Lewis served in the United States House of Representatives for Georgia's 5th Congressional District from 1987 until his death in 2020, after all those years of being on the front line of the Civil Rights Movement. Huey P. Newton co-founded the Black Panther Party, a Black Power political organization constructed to demand rights for blacks during those times of injustice, putting his life on the line for his people every day. Every day. My life is centered around kings who have fought through these dark times to hope for a brighter future, me and my people. Dr. King once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Darkness is unavoidable, but a king has to be that beacon of light for his people, which says to them, hold on. He must encourage his people to fight and stand during these times with words of wisdom on the consolidation for a brighter future. He must take away from his throne a march from each stretch of his land to assure that he is able to provide whatever service he can for his people, assuring that they are not starving in any manner of life. He must have an everlasting grasp on the foundation that has been established so that it will never be let down, or he'll let his people down. He must sacrifice his comfort to fear, to bestow the presence of victory in his fight against dark times. And the king should never let go of himself. He is the representation of his people. They follow his lead. Therefore, there is no room for doubt, for he has to be hopeful himself. My kings have molded the structure which demonstrates more than just power, but the influence of a king. They struck hope during their darkest times and never gave up an ounce of it. With my fate defied, I am not afraid to fail. And you ask me, how can I inspire during these times?